Hi guys and welcome back. So today we're going to be installing Apple CarPlay to my Audi. This is something that's going to work whether it's an A4, an S4, an A5, a Q, a Q3, a Q5, a TT, pretty much the whole platform of Audis. But what we're going to be using to demonstrate today is my Audi A4. One of the main advantages to doing this is it's going to give us so much more usability on the car, and it's going to turn it into what was a 2010 Audi and make it look like a 2025 Audi. Make sure as well you are subscribed, and if you're not, smash that subscribe button down below. Let's dive into it. This is what the head unit looks like now, and it does feel quite dated and old to use. What we're going to be doing is fitting an aftermarket head unit to my car, which means we can finally connect our phone via Bluetooth and have Apple CarPlay at the same time. It's also got other stuff on it such as DAB, a sat-nav, and loads of built-in other options, and it's a touchscreen. So what we're going to do is basically take the old one out, put the new one in, and make all of these features work. Last time I completed the whole interior in this, and I felt like there was only really one thing letting it down, and that was a head unit. If you want to take a look at that, I'll leave a link up above. Don't get me wrong, it was probably great 15 years ago, but now the head unit in the car is starting to feel a bit dated and a bit old. And the most annoying thing about it is you can't connect your phone to it, and you don't have many options on there to upgrade it. If you look at the new Audis, they basically have a big head-up display in them that either comes out the dash, it's already out, and it's pretty much like a touchscreen, or some of them might even be touchscreens now. If you're looking for a proper upgrade, for an easy upgrade, this is the way to go. And it means we can also fit a rear view camera to the back of this car, and hopefully it should also make the speakers a little bit better as well. Pretty much going to transform the inside of the car and the usability of the car at the same time. And for the cost of it, it's going to be a lot cheaper than trying to fit these options from factory. So for the sake of it, let's give it a go. I'm going to go back to mine and we'll show you what we're using. You don't need to have a new car or buy a new car to have Apple CarPlay. All you need to do is change the head unit. What we're going to be doing is walking through all the steps with you, trying to fit it to the car, and this is something that's going to work across any sort of car as well. It might just be an Audi that you have. This can work on any sort of car, as long as you change a head unit in it for something else. You don't need to buy a new car. You can keep your old car running, fit a new head unit, and you've got Apple CarPlay. Save yourself some money. Here's what we're going to be installing. This ATOTO head unit, which comes with, I think, a 22-inch touchscreen, as well as stuff like DAB, AI, Bluetooth, CarPlay, like I say. It's got loads of kit in it, half of which I don't even know, but we're going to find out. If you are interested in one of these, I'll leave a link in the description down below, as well as the discount code, because I want to try and help you out where I can. When we get it on, we're going to run through everything and see what we can do with it. To start off fitting this, we need to take the old fascia off, as well as some of the controls and the radio out. Now we've got all of that off, let's get the new one out of its box and take a look. Thankfully as well, we've got a few instructions. This is the main wiring harness that we need to fit then. So this is going to plug into the original connector on the car. That down there I think is going to go into the heat controls. And that there is what's going to plug into the new head unit. It's all tied up as well with a black plate, like a mounting plate, that we need to fit to the existing fascia. We'll fit the fascia in a bit, but first we need to figure out where the wiring's going. It's also come with another hazard light switch, because when we put the display in, it's going to block the one off on the dashboard. So what we're going to have to do in a minute, by the looks of it, is take off the gear surround and lift it up to fit this new one in. There are so many wires to this, but I'm going to start off with the base of it, get the easy stuff in, and then we can do the trickier and more finicky things as well, because I want to fit all of the options I've got on this, like the 4G, the DAB, I mean the rear view camera. There's quite a bit of wiring to do there, but if we get the base of it down, it'll make it a bit easier. Once we've sorted out all the wiring and all of that's in place, we're going to have to plug all of the connections into the back of here. So we've got 4G, GPS, all these little plugs along here, and I think one that feeds off the main loom. So everything is plugged into the back of this. Let's get on with it then. So I started off by removing the gear surround to get the old corn holder out and fit the new hazard light switch. After I put that in, I had to put new wiring loom and tuck it behind the dash. After I got all of that in place, it was just a matter of figuring out where this new wiring loom went and plugging it into the old connections to try and make everything work. And of course, not forgetting the canvas decoder. Once I'd figured it out, I put the head unit and the heat controls back in. Now that we've got the main wiring harness in, all the wiring that we need to deal with is hanging at the top here. The rest of it's all tucked away and plugged back in. Right, now I've got all of that tucked away, the main part of it is out of the way. What we need to do now then is trim the fascia up to fit. I found the easiest way to do this was just break some of the corners off on the old surround and then slowly pull it off bit by bit. Now we started to remove some of the dash, the A-pillar, and get the clocks out so that I could route the wires behind the dash. Now that I've got all of that off, what I'm going to do is put the 4G antenna somewhere up here. I'm going to put the GPS antenna somewhere down there in front of the dash, and I'm going to try and route the microphone somewhere along here and behind the mirror. If I had a DAB antenna, which I didn't actually get with it, I'm going to order one of them, and I'd probably put that somewhere around here. Now that's all done, I'm also going to route the wiring for the reverse camera behind the dash and then down this sill. Once we've got that in place, we're also going to put the reverse camera in. So the reverse camera that I've ordered then is kind of part of the boot lid opener on the back as well. So what we need to do, when we've got the wiring in place, is wire this in and swap this out on the boot lid. I decided to put the camera cable up the A-pillar along with the mic, and then I got the mic into its place. After that I put the A-pillar cover back on and ran the camera cable along the roof line into the boot. I removed a few of the trims in the boot so that I could route the wire through and get it where it needed to go. Now I needed a trigger to turn the rear view camera on, so I put the car into reverse and removed the rear light. I got my multimeter out and I ran a few checks on the car to figure out which wire was going to be used for reverse. So I traced it back to the pin out and then finding the wire on the other side of the loom. Once I figured out which wire it was going to, I pulled the loom back through the car. Unfortunately for me, after I pulled the loom out into the car, I'd realised that someone else had already tapped into the loom for the rear light to try and use for a rear tow bar, so I had to repair the wires before I could go any further. After I'd repaired it, I tapped into the reverse light, and then all I needed to do was connect it and check it. All good. Now we just need to put it back together and route it into the boot. Now let's go over the wiring and how this is going to work. Now this one here is basically like our video feed to the front, and this gold wire I've wired in as like a trigger off the reverse light, so when we hit the reverse it's going to go through here and switch the camera on. So the black connector and red connector are going to plug in together, and then this red wire is going to be wired into that gold wire as a switch and a trigger, and the black wire on the other side of it is what we're going to use to earth it to the chassis. Now I've sorted all the wiring out, I also thought this would be a good time to wrap the dash trims, not that you have to. Now before we actually plug the head unit in and sort all of the wiring out, there are two more cables that we need to route into place. We've got two USBs to plug into the back of it then, one's for your phone to charge it and another one's for external storage. I'm not entirely sure why you'd need that, but if you know better than me, leave a comment down below. Anyway, so we have the option to put them in or leave them out, and I figured we're going to do it properly and put them in. One option is we don't use them and we don't plug them in. Job done, leave it. But I think it is a good idea so we can plug our phone in if we ever need a USB or, for whatever reason, external storage. So I've been having a think on how to do it and where to route them, and my idea is to put them inside of the glove box. So I've got the glove box off ready to put the cable through. Then I drilled a hole in it with a hole saw, cleaned it up and put a grommet through there, followed by routing the cable through. So I put it back together and then started to get the fascia back on. Now we just needed to put the mounting plate on and sort all of the wiring out, and then we were ready to put the new head unit on. Now look at that. That looks amazing, doesn't it? At first I wasn't really a fan of it and I wasn't really sure about it. I was a bit on the fence, maybe a bit too much, but looking at it, that really does top the inside of this car, and I think it really does go well, especially with the carbon wrap underneath it. I think that brings this car right up to date, and you wouldn't think this is a 2010 Audi now. It looks good. Now let's see what it's like to use. Let's go for it. I don't know about you, but this looks sick so far. It literally looks like the newer Audis do. I'm going to have a little play with it then and try and figure some stuff out, see if everything works, and then we'll go into it. Okay, so I have encountered my first problem, and that is that if I go into reverse to put the rear camera on, the rear camera isn't coming up. So far then, I've figured out this screen here. When I first loaded it, it came up in a sort of split screen. So if I go back, which is down here, you press the circle and then car info, I had to match it on the settings to the back of the connector. So the back of the connector that plugs into the original screen plug has to match the same resolution. So I think it started out somewhere up here at the top, went down to that M100 one, which is a matching connector on the back, and that seemed to solve the issue. Now the rear view camera should pop up, and it isn't, so it's not working. So what I need to do now is look into it, because what I was hoping to find is on the back of a radio like a line for the rear view camera, but I couldn't see anything at the time. So I'm not sure if I've missed something off, or you know, I'm not doing something quite right. So what I think I'll have to do now is do a bit of digging, take all this stuff off again, have a look in there. I might miss something off, because I was under the assumption it might be sorted out, that signal for the back from the CAN decoder, but it doesn't look like it is that way. So I'm going to do a bit of digging, see what I can find, and then we'll carry on with it, go on a drive. I'll probably try and use Apple Play and see if it actually works. Right, so I've taken all this stuff off to try and figure out if there's another wire on the back of there as to why the camera's not powering up. And in fact, there is actually a wire that I've missed out, and I think I've just forgot about it, or I've not noticed when I've been putting everything back together. So of course that's my mistake. What I've seen without noticing there are two wires down here, is the reverse signal would be coming off the canvas decoder itself. So with these two cables here, it's like it's still asking for that signal to switch the rear camera on. I'm only human at the end of the day, and it's a simple little thing that we've missed off, and it's probably tucked in like that. When I tried ramming everything back in there, wasn't paying attention, wanted to get all this back together. It is what it is. This red wire here then is what you'd usually put into the back of a radio to send the signal to the reverse camera. So now we do need to wire that in. Now what I'm going to do is join these two together, the one at the back into the camera, and see if hopefully that solves our issue and makes the camera work. What I've done then, I've literally just put power to the rear camera, assuming that it's already going to be ready to send back a signal, thinking that it's going to be working off the canvas decoder in the car. In theory, all that's doing is powering up the camera when we hit the reverse light, but we're still not getting the feedback out of the head unit, so the camera's not going to know when it needs to switch on. Now what we're going to do is use the red cable as a switch from the back of the head unit. The red one from the back of the unit then is all connected up to the camera, and then what I'm going to use as my trigger is the one off the reverse light, and wire that in like that there, connect all of them up, and then every time that reverse light comes on, it's going to send a signal to turn on the camera. So let's see if the camera's working now. Get a load of that, it's all working. It may not be the best quality picture, but we do have a working rear view camera. That is going to make my life so much easier. So now let's see if we can actually get Carplay working. Look at that, we've got working Carplay now. So let's test it out and see how we get on. I'm going to route us to this car's favourite place. Right, so far so good. So let's go on a little drive and see if we can figure some of the stuff out. Now I've got a bit more used to it and I've got my head around it. I honestly can't fault it at all, and it does work really well. On a whole, it really does make this car feel a hell of a lot newer. And I think with the carbon trims now, it really does top it off. And of course, it has got CarPlay. If we want to get out of CarPlay, all we do then is we go out of here like that, tap that button, and it brings us back to the home screen. And then if we want to go back on the car, like the actual factory one, it'll go in here and we can see everything. So like if you want to check your oil level, still okay, which is great. This screen back here, it's like the new Audis have, which is a great feature to have. The CarPlay works brilliantly on it. You can use your maps on it. You can, I think you can even talk to it like off Siri, and it'll, you know, send messages for you and all that. Not that I've tried that yet, but I'm sure it will work because everything else on it works fine. Got the microphone widening, and like I say, the map's been working without a fault. Cuts in and out of the music okay. Then if we go on apps as well, go on the car link, and that will connect us to the Apple CarPlay. So if I switch it on my phone, it will come with a notification on your phone. Yep, just connect it on there, and it says don't use Bluetooth, you don't need to. So you can go and lock Spotify, messages. Got a lot of messages there, I know. I even thought it might be a good idea to see if we can get the internet working in YouTube on here. So what I'm going to try and do is connect my phone to this via Wi-Fi, use my phone's hotspot as a Wi-Fi hotspot, and we'll try and make this work off that. I thought we'd take a look at one of my favourite YouTube channels here, as you can see. So of course, if you're new to the channel, tap down below, hit subscribe, press that magic little button for us. So the app wouldn't actually work because it needs updating, but I thought I'd try and use the internet to go on YouTube, which is what I've done. So YouTube, the internet, and all of that stuff works as well. A special thanks to ATOTO then, who've hooked us up with this radio, and it's a great bit of kit. I'd highly recommend one of these if you're looking to change the radio in your Audi, not just your A4, your Q5, your A5, but any Audi in general. They should pretty much all be the same. It's really made a huge difference on the inside of this car. Everything on it works really well, and you know, overall I'm really impressed with all the functions it's got on it. The CarPlay works on it brilliantly. Like I say, I mean, it even goes into the factory head unit. Speakers sound a lot better on it as well. That's one thing that's really good. It still retains all of the factory functions on the car. The heating controls still work, they come up on the screen. You've got CarPlay, you've got reverse camera options. You can even wire in an aftermarket amp in the back if you wanted to. I don't think I'll be doing that personally, but it's nice to have the option. Like I say, you've got the GPS on there, you've got 4G, there's loads of things on there. Like, you can even talk to it and tell it to like text back to people on there. Not that I think I've tried it yet, but I'm sure that it will work. It's a lot more up to date than the factory options that you have, and to be honest, for the cost of it, it's probably a lot cheaper too. So it's definitely something that I'd say is worth looking into. And of course, if you are interested in one of these, there's a link in the description down below. Use discount code because I want to try and help you where I can. And of course, it should be a lot easier to install than a lot of them out there. And you've seen me go through most of the stuff as well, so it should be a bit self-explanatory anyway. And I found some of the stuff out the hard way so that you don't have to. Anyway, have a look down below if you're interested in one. And special thanks to ATOTO who've hooked us up with this radio, and I think it's a great bit of kit, so I'd highly recommend one. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. So thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, tap down below, hit subscribe, like, comment, share, whatever. And of course, I'll catch you next video. See you in a bit.